Everything blends if you try hard enough. Welcome to a surprise episode of the podcast.
Kind of.
Yeah, we said we
Is
weren't
it a
doing it
surprise
just to
that
see
we?
who's paying attention.
Is it a surprise if we actually keep our goddamn schedule for longer than a week?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't. I was. The thing I had to do today was scheduled for like 3 hours, right in this block, and it ended up being like an hour and a half. So, and I wasn't going to pass up an opportunity to talk about Let It Die.
Yeah, which is good because I really don't. I've just been playing.
You've been playing Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. I've
and making me feel like
else. Shit. That was what he's talking about. Is I finally got to the Ornstein and Smug, whatever.
I like smoke as it rhymes with dough, and I imagine he eats that.
Yes, he looks like it. But anyway, I mean, Ben said it, but it's not just you. Pretty much everybody has said that that's one of the hardest boss fights, like in the franchise, not just in the first game. And I just must have got completely lucky. Now, I did have Solaire summoned, so I had help. And really, that took what seemed to be the difficult part of that fight away.
Yeah, that might be why that fight is imprinted in my memory as such a hard one, because that was like I think that was the fight that I learned you could summon people. Like I never addressed
because
it.
If you're like me, I'm never in human form. I'm always hollow.
Well, I always assumed the summoning was like you were summoning someone to fight. Like, yeah, I didn't think it was like you could get help.
Yeah.
So I fought them solo for the longest time, kept getting my ass kicked, and then when I realized you could bring people in, I was like, oh, all right.
And of course,
so
so
even in AI, something to distract.
That's
at least one of them.
Because when there's two of them, if they were both concentrating on you, I could see that being very frustrating and difficult. But I was able to get him to distract him just enough to take out Ornstein, and then Smo is pretty. I mean, he hits really hard, but his attacks are so slow and telegraphed. I mean,
a fun challenge is killing Smo first, because Ornstein becomes gigantic and fucking scary.
Yeah. Well, Smo does too, but he's still slow, so it.
Yeah, he's still slow. Ornstein is still just as fast.
Yeah, Ornstein can like dive at you from across the map. So
well, he can fucking fly. But
anyway,
hats off to you. You made me feel appropriately like shit.
And it's rare that when I pick on you all the time, but it's rare when it actually hits.
But it only bothered me. It only really got to me when I realized like who it was that was shit talking me. Because like if anybody else is like, I beat that first try, I'm like, well, fuck you, you're good. But like I watched your, good, yeah. I went back and watched your like Iron Golem fight where you had him down to one hit. And then he got like picked up and stomped and shit.
Yeah, that was kind of an unlucky. I mean, that was my first time facing him solo. In fact, I'm playing it in the background right now. Yeah. Although it's really fucking blurry,
like, yeah, you didn't. Like, yeah, you got fucked.
It's funny because you're making fun of me, and that's one of the fights I'm the most proud of because it was my first time facing him. I didn't watch a video ahead of time, like.
He's very easy.
Yeah, and he said you're straightforward. The thing
I would give you is like you didn't kill the giant who hurls boulders. Like you just went and fought him on the narrow path, which might have been part of what fucked you.
Yeah, because I didn't have a ton of room, but
yeah. And so you got grabbed, and that was kind of the end.
It was funny because I was like a half. So I wouldn't have even had to do full damage with the R1 like regular swing. I could have sneezed and he died.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was
poking with a pillow.
But then when I respawned and tried it again, I was all like full of myself. Like, gosh, I almost killed him on my first try. And then he hit me like twice, and I died instantly.
Yeah, so I gave you shit for that, and then I watched your Sif fight. Like
if you're gonna give me shit for that. That was terrible.
But I can't even give you shit for that because I beat Sif my first try. And I feel like I never actually saw the fight because it was so like I admit I went back to Sif. Like that's not a fight you have to do until like a certain point in the game, I think. So I did pretty much everything else before fighting the fucking wolf, and I was pretty strong by then. You did not get like a word in in one of those fights. Like every 2 seconds, like it would just like jump and slash you, and
Yep.
like you. I don't know. I assume you had some bourbon in you or some shit
No, that
because
was the problem. I was
that
just
might be because I remember Dark Souls 3 especially. I felt like I played better when I was drinking.
yeah. Well, see, and a part of that is just the whole thing with Sif, and it's funny because I'm watching the Iron Golem fight we're talking about, and it's going on here on the stream. Sif is pretty much the exact same strategy. You have to get under them so they can't hit you, and then know which attacks you're going to have to dodge. But they're pretty easy to roll through because they're pretty big arcing attacks. But Sif is a little harder to close that gap because he'll jump back, and he's fast. The Golem's nice and slow, and you just stand between his legs. But the funny thing was, I tried him 4 or 5 times on that stream, and I had some people in the chat too. There was somebody actually watching the stream, of course. The one time
Yeah.
that I'm getting it wasn't just Sif kicking my ass. I was dying to like all the stuff on the way to him, and it was just a very bad stream.
Yeah, it might have been Will watching you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, there's 2 people at one
Like
point. but I don't-
like it replays the chat,
Chat,
and I
yeah.
remember I thought I saw Will in there, but
But so that was bad. And then when I came back to it later, I think it was even the same night we went out. No, it had to be the next night because I had come back from my parents' house and I had like 2 bourbons and 2 big glasses of wine at their house, so I was feeling it pretty good. And
I'm ready. I want to fuck this dog up.
I killed him on my first attempt on the second when I came back to it. It might have been my second attempt, but like I don't think I even used an Estus flask that time. And I think it's just numbing your reaction because what gets you in trouble in Dark Souls is when you overreact too quick. Like you're not patient.
Right.
Things tend to like I'm watching this fight with this big knight guy now. They'll swing their weapon way back, and you're like block, dodge, and then they like do their taxes, and then they attack you.
Yeah, and booze has always made me more deliberate playing anything, and sometimes that's to my detriment. Other times, like I've noticed it with Dark Souls, and I've noticed it with NBA. Like you think about what you're doing, and somehow you play better.
Yeah,
And when you fuck up, you don't care.
that
Like,
too.
So, like when you're in Dark Souls, especially, if you're like me, you have a temper. So when an enemy fucks you over, like your response is kind of the bloodborne. I'm gonna fucking get all my health back just by killing you type approach. And in like Dark Souls, you don't have that. So you're just rushing in with no fucking health, not recovering from what happened because you're trying to be aggressive. So yeah, drink is my advice.
Yes. But I haven't really. Well, I can't say I haven't gotten far. Ornstein and Smo. That's where you get the Lord Vessel. I did kill one of the. There's like after that. Well, there's tons of optional stuff, but basically your next like main story things after that are to kill the 4 bosses that have pieces of Gwyn's soul. The 4 kings, Queen, whatever the witch, Nito.
Yeah.
And what was the other? Oh, Seath the Scaleless. And I did kill Seath.
Which I heard. I heard you had some initial trouble with Seath.
Yeah, and I don't know why. The fight was easy, but it was like I kept.
Like I was glad to hear that because that's what I went through with him.
I think the biggest problem is he's so big that probably other than impatience, like I was just saying with Dark Souls, your biggest enemy in Dark Souls 1 is the camera a lot of the times, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, they didn't have it quite distanced down, and
well, and it
like
would just get when you go from an open area to like a cluttered area, it tends to just like go crazy. So that wasn't helping, but that was another one of those that he kicked my ass a million times. I took a break. I went back and I beat it my first or second attempt back. And no, it took a few more. My wife was on hold with AppleCare for not on hold, but on the phone with AppleCare for like 3 hours. So that gave me 3 straight hours to go after Seath. So good job, AppleCare. But when I did eventually kill him, I don't think I might be used an Estus flask once. It's one of those fights that you just have to get it down, and then once you do, it's pretty straightforward and easy. But
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I've done Seath. I've been farming. I was getting pissed too. I went back to in Orlando to get a Silver Knight spear for the
Oh,
catacombs. 'Cause
you don't have a Black Knight weapon yet?
well, I'm a dex build, and
Oh,
yeah, I have
yeah.
nothing in strength. And even now with my spear, I have to two hand it because I just put 1 point into strength so I could two hand the spear, but I can't one hand it. There's
See, like I kind of, I should really replay the first Dark Souls because when I played it, I got a Black Knight sword pretty early, and that dictated like a strength build, kind of.
yeah, well, and that's what my first big playthrough. Like when I played it on PlayStation, I didn't get very far, but on Xbox, I got decent way into the game, and that was with the Drake sword, the same type of deal. You get
Yeah.
that sword that almost spoils you though, because then you get used to going through the game not caring about what stats you necessarily level up or what weapons you get. And then you get to a point when all of a sudden it becomes super weak compared to your other options. But
Yeah.
anyway, the advantage of a Silver Knight weapon in the catacombs is you have those necromancers that will revive the skeletons.
Hmm.
But if you kill him with a Silver Knight weapon, it's got a holy component. It'll keep him dead.
Yeah.
And so I've been wanting to get one of those just to make that part of it easier. But I had to farm
One
in
of
Orlando for like 3 fucking days. They just would not drop.
isn't like the reviving skeletons, aren't they? Once you're in the level proper for Nito, I think they're all attached to like a summoner.
They are in the
So
other in the first part too. Once you find and they don't respawn. So once you kill the necromancers, you don't
yeah.
have to worry about it. But
So I think that's just what I did because they
probably
don't. Like the catacombs is a really easy part of that game where you just kind of have to sprint through. Like you have to sprint through the bullshit and get to killing what matters.
yeah, and that's what I've noticed so far. Because the thing I was worried about with the spear is having to two hand it, and I only meet the minimum requirements, and I didn't upgrade it at all. I just got it. It's still two hit kills like everything so far.
Yeah.
It seems like it's more, and it hasn't been as difficult. I just got to the first bonfire though. That's when you texted and said that, or tweeted and said you're going to be able to do the show. So I haven't got to go that far into that. The only advantage of getting to go back to Anne Orlando to farm is I realized I missed Sigmire, and he's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did go advance his quest past that. I did get to do the right before. No, I did it right after Ornstein and Smo. That Dick, is it Lothric or I don't think it's Lothric, Luratech or something that you say you rescue almost at the beginning of the game from the chapel, and then he fucking kills the fire keeper at the Firelink Shrine.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. So even though I'm at the point in the game now with the Lord Vessel where you can warp, I don't really need the Firelink Shrine bonfire anymore. I'm like, I'm getting my vengeance on him. So I did that, and he was a chump. He was easy to kill.
Yeah.
So a lot of little stuff like that, but I haven't. I don't know the Chaos Bed, the Demon Ruins one will probably be what I go after next after Nito. I don't know. That area seems less frustrating, but that boss fight seems horrific.
He's a chump. He really is. Like I can't even tell you what exactly he does because like it's really straightforward, and he might summon some skeletons.
No, I mean Chaos Bed.
Oh, Chaos Bed. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Nito.
No, Nito seems pretty straightforward, although I haven't watched a Nito fight. But
the Chaos Bed area is, I think, kind of. It's probably one of the tougher areas of the game, just because there's so much going on in it. The boss itself is just honestly kind of gimmicky and stupid.
yeah, I mean, I had remember seeing something on it way back when, and it's like you can technically kill it without even using a weapon pretty easily because it's just one of those attack the two like shield generators basically, and then
people love to like just throw shit over like all the barriers and it'll hit what you need to hit. But like if you have to know where to be and know where to throw them in order to do that. So if you're just playing it like a casual fucking plebe like we are, there's just it's just a dick boss fight. Like
Yeah, it's
it
like the
doesn't, and
floor
not
falls
in,
out in front of you,
yeah,
and
and not in the way, like, to me, like, not in the way that Dark Souls is usually a dick, like a cool dick, like a cool
cool.
girthy dick.
Yeah, not like that.
Yeah, but it's just like it's the only part of that game that I feel like really kind of tries to like just pull the rug out from under you, like literally. Um, like the thing falling on you, the attacks that don't necessarily kill you, but they push you into the pits.
Yeah,
You,
and
you
they
like
look
it,
like the actual hitbox on that swipe of it. It really only seems to have like two attacks: the scythe things that come down, which seem relatively easy to dodge if you keep your cool because they.
right.
And then the swipe, but the swipe seems to like actually reach further than the model. There's a lot of bosses and enemies in this game that do that, and you just have to. It's
Yeah,
like trial and error to find out where you're going to get hit and where you're not.
yeah. And there was a lot of like hitbox questioning when I fought that boss. Like, and it sucks because like in terms of the lore of the series, the Bed of Chaos is one of the most interesting parts of the Dark Souls universe to me.
Yeah, because that's
Um,
the witch, or it's spawned from the witch that
yeah,
burned all the ancient trees, right? I forget what they call them, but
yeah. She was trying to create. I think I might be wrong. You'd have to probably go to the Vadi Vidya fucking YouTube channel and get the actual answer. But I think she was trying to create her own like first flame,
yeah,
and what ended up happening was she became this fucking evil tree thing.
which is cool. I mean, there's a lot of. I was watching one of his videos on Pinwheel, the kind of boss or mini boss of the catacombs area. And
Yeah,
he's one of those that you like almost feel bad for. It seems like a guy that lost his wife and kid. You know, it's completely nondescriptly. It doesn't tell you specifics,
but you just know about like that's the great thing about the game. You read the item descriptions, and then you're like, holy shit! Like this references his family, and
right. And
like,
it sounds like he lost his wife and kids, and in desperation, he stole some of Nito's power to bring him back, and it goes horribly wrong. And now they're this weird, like, amalgamation of three people that, and then just the symbolism in it, like he's
yeah.
on the bottom because he has to bear the burden of his wife and kid,
Right.
and that's just that kind of stuff. It's really cool, but that gets back to the Sif fight, like. That was one of the weirdest fights for me emotionally because when I did finally beat it, since I had trouble with it, you know, there was that like fuck yeah moment of like I did this, but at the same time, that boss I think more than any other I've played in any of the games so far, you feel terrible about having to kill him, like
Yeah.
especially knowing his backstory and like what he's doing there, and it's like. It's almost like like a lot of these bosses, where he's okay with you killing him, and he's almost a test, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to, you know, he's just
Yeah.
protecting his master that gave his life up for him in the first place. Like, I like
Yeah,
that not every boss is just some like evil demon, whatever. But
Well, it's a good. Every character is like a good representation of what the overall story in Dark Souls is, which is not a black and white good or evil thing. It's like your endings are not the good ending and the bad ending, as much as the game like tries to make you believe it through your interactions with certain characters. Those are just characters with their own motivations,
right,
and they
even
want
do a
you to
good
do
job.
things a certain way.
There was a point when I was going through it and learning the lore and stuff where you get to it and you're like, aha, the dark killing the flame is the good ending. And then you're like, keep reading, you're like, well,
Well, maybe
no.
fucking not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the most representative thing of life. It's like, no, just everything's fucked. Like, no matter what, it's bad or bad. Just choose which bad.
and I think that's why, like, I don't, you know, I've talked about it. I talked about it kind of with Dishonored last week. I don't have a lot of affection for the multi-ending thing. I would prefer if you're telling me a story, just tell me the story and one ending, choose an ending, and we'll go with that. But like the From Software games, they do a really good job of every ending feeling like a true one, like one that fits your story.
Right.
in that world. Like, and yeah, I could go a totally different way, but like none of them feel unnatural. Like, you know, in like the endings where it's like, oh, you lit the fire and now you're king and now the world's in prosperity. Instead, it's like, well, you're king, but you know, this fucking world's still rotten.
Right.
So,
Well, and from what I see of the lore, it's like when it's first rekindled, it's like, okay, now the hollows will go away for a little while, and then they're back. And it's
yeah.
like, well,
And on the other hand, it's like, well, you just ushered in a fucking age of darkness, but maybe there's going to be some semblance of life and civilization in that. You know, like you don't really know. Like each ending is appropriately uncertain. And
neither of them leave you with that, like, and which I like. There's been a couple movies. Did you see Nightcrawler? Came out last year, I think. Yeah, like that. They do it even fewer times in movies, where you get to the end. You're so used to, no matter like how dark the movie is, you're getting to the end, and there being some kind of like rainbow at the end or some light at the end of the tunnel, where it's like, oh, and they live happily ever after, and then.
Yeah.
Dark Souls, no matter what you choose, it's just like, well, they live ever after.
Well, as we went over at the beginning, this story is on a cycle, and it's constantly repeating itself.
And then that kind of gives you that disparity, which, I think is so great because it's so true to real life, where it's like, does it even fucking matter? Like, I did all of that, and I really didn't change anything. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of a... You know, you have to take that inventory. The character has to take that inventory for themselves in a story, but like you as a player, it's the definition of like the journey is more important than the destination, because like what you get out of it is like, wow, I had to, fight all these amazing characters and go to all these amazing places that like have such a rich story behind them, but it never told it to me. I had to dig for it, and
what was so cool to me is it would have been so easy. They had Dark Souls 1 and then 2, which I haven't played yet, but I'd watched a lot of the lore. In fact, I think I'd seen more lore stuff on 2, like what they reveal in 2, than I had on 1 and up until recently.
I know people have their problem with that game, but I think I've said it before. I think Dark Souls 2 has some of my favorite lore in the series.
Yeah, it does a great job of taking... Like, because as much as we've talked about it, I'll admit when I went back to 1, be like, okay, this time I'm going to appreciate it more and dig more into the lore. 1 without 2 is pretty... They leave almost everything, like, unexplained. You can get, like, little bits of snippet here and there in story, but none of it has any real grand context until 2. But then 3, it would have been real easy to have these 2 games that leave it so confusing, and then 3, and then get to the end of 3 and be like, haha, now here's the real ending. But no, they're just like, yep, cycle number 3, but guess what? Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, like, I think they did a really good job, if nothing else, because I don't like all of Dark Souls 2. I think some of the areas, particularly the DLC areas, I thought were pretty weak.
Yeah, I'd say that was something that was funny. I remember you saying that, but I was confusing it with 1, and I kept thinking to myself, man, when I get to the DLC content, I know Ben really didn't like it, and I'm like, wait, no, that was 2.
I never played 1s, and I've heard it's some of the best in the series.
There's not as much of it, I don't think, because there was 4 DLC, like what was that, the not Lords of Sin.
Yeah, they did the crowns. There was the Ivory Crown. There were 2 others.
I thought there was 4, but maybe it was 3.
I'm pretty sure it was 3, but I can't remember. I know I streamed it. So
1's only DLC was that Artorias of the Abyss, but he's one of the more interesting and more important characters in the lore.
In general, up through 3, they're referencing him. He's one of the most... like, I kick myself for not playing that DLC, because I heard it's also... You fight like a corrupt version of him, and like every time I see a speedrunner doing it, it looks like one of the coolest fights.
And I know if you, it must only come into play. I haven't really looked into it, but it seems like it comes into play if you play New Game Plus. Like if you do that, and then go back in your next run in New Game Plus when you meet Safe, he like recognizes you because it like kind of takes place in the past.
Well, you can go to that DLC before you fight him, so you don't have to do it in New Game Plus, I don't think. But just like, yeah, if you do the quest line, because in that quest line, you help her. I think it's her when she's just like a pup.
Yeah,
And you help her. You like.
From what I remember, they don't specifically say, but like the name itself is kind of a female name or reference to something. So yeah.
I want to say like an item describes it as a her, but anyway, like when you fight her, she like kind of like she recognizes you, and then she like kind of like reluctantly picks up the sword and like fights you, and it's a minor change, but it's another little tweak that makes that fight a lot fucking sadder.
Yeah, well, and that's probably why I felt like I did after I beat her too, is because if you didn't know any of this and you just went into it, it'd just be a big, like, bloodthirsty wolf with a big ass sword, and you'd be like, yeah, fuck that thing. But maybe it's because I had read about that and I'd seen the cutscene.
But that's kind of, but Dark Souls trains you to, like, you understand there's always more going on here than, like, like that big scary monster always has a really fucked up, sad story behind it.
Well, I remember the first time I fought Havel in the game, thinking like he's just another like hollow soldier, like just a big motherfucker, and being like, oh, this guy's scary and whatever, but I'm glad I killed him. And then you like find out about him being like one of Gwen's best friends or whatever, but not agreeing with the siding with the dragons and all this, and getting locked in the tower and basically just rotting in there until he lost all of his humanity, because that's what happens to undead. And it's like, well, that's really sad. And I haven't looked this up, but I've been curious because I came across in Orlando his set, the Havel set. And then that got me thinking, because all of this, none of this is by accident. From Software is amazing about this, but it's like, what is the symbolism of his armor being locked in a basement in Anne Orlando, which I think it's just because that was where Gwen, that was Gwen's palace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's where his children are.
So you can kind of imagine the point where he gets like stripped of his armor and what makes him powerful and locked in this tower. Of course, he still has his armor when you fight him, but that's kind of part of Dark Souls too. I don't know. It's just really cool. But anyway, I didn't think we would talk much about Dark Souls because that's all we've been talking about forever.
But we fucking adore those games. So
yeah,
yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, that's the Dark Souls rabbit hole is a dangerous one that we fall down in pretty much every week. But especially if you're fucking playing it, so it's hard not to. Let It Die is really cool.
I'm surprised too, because I had kind of seen it in development, and it looked like it could be cool, but there was like no buzz around it through development.
Yeah. If you don't know, this is Suda51,
Grasshopper manufacturer, I think.
Yeah. They decided to make a free-to-play online game, kind of roguelike, kind of Dark Souls-esque, where the combat system's sort of similar in that you control sort of you have your right hand attack and your left hand attack, but like you're constantly picking up weapons. Like you don't really have you don't have equipment in the same way. So like you're pretty much finding stuff off of the people you kill. Like you start with your fists, and then they might have a buzzsaw, and you have like 3 slots per hand, so you can kind of cycle through, which is like if you see it in action, it looks like, how do you manage all that shit? But they just do it through the D-pad, and it's really simple. Oh, I thought you were saying something. Nope. Hiccup. And so none of the equipment lasts very long, so there's this real kind of recklessness as you go. Like there's the caution of like you don't know what's around each corner. Like the whole premise of the game is you're in this Well, actually, the premise of the game is you're in an arcade, um, hanging out with Uncle Death, which is he's the mascot for the game, but and it's hard to tell what exactly he is.
Is he
But
the
you're
guy
in
with
this,
the mask or?
yeah, like, but is it a mask? I don't know. The jaw
Well,
moves,
yeah.
so I don't know. But he might be the character of the year. He's fucking hilarious. He is a great sort of guide to this ridiculous game. And like it doesn't show you this until a little bit later, but you're right. Like the game is self-aware. It knows you're in Let It Die, the video game. So you kind of part of the like quest system and like hint system is you go out of the game and you're in this arcade and you can kind of navigate it. But when you go back into the game, like Uncle Death, like put like the video game console for Let It Die is this weird like pyramid thing that he puts a like scarab beetle on top of, and the scarab beetle projects the screen,
which could be Nintendo's next cartridge format.
Yeah, that was the Switch prototype. And then you go back in the game, and the whole premise of the game is like you're in this tower and you're trying to work your way to the top of it, floor by floor, and periodically you'll find elevators that let you skip chunks of it and get back to the floor you were on. And so like I was surprised, like I watched a few trailers before I downloaded it, and I thought like that looks kind of stiff and sloppy. And it's actually a really satisfying combat system, like really basic. But like every time you land a hit, it feels good. And like kind of that Mortal Kombat way of like the over top, like when you kill enemies, whether you've like, no matter what you did to them, even if you just punch them to death, they blow up. And it's
well, good.
And it's perfect.
Now, this is like in some way multiplayer too, right?
There is a multiplayer aspect. It sounds honestly pretty fucking annoying. Because the game is already difficult enough being kind of a free-to-play model, but we'll get into that. So the game expects you to die, and because of that, you have, I think you can buy more characters inventory spots, but you have a lineup of characters that you have their own individual leveling up systems, and like as you get further in the game, you have access to different types of characters. So right now all I have is all rounders. Like they can do, they're pretty balanced, but they don't specialize in anything. But eventually you can get characters who you might have to pay for with the in-game currency. You don't have to like spend your own money for it, but they might have specialties. They're more of a melee guy, or they might be better with guns and stuff. So then, like, that stuff's cool. The multiplayer aspect, from what I've gathered, is people like the area you start on, the area with the elevators and the shops, is called the waiting room. And from what I understand, the way the multiplayer works is people will invade your waiting room and take your characters while you're not there, because all your characters are stored. So all your characters are stored in this freezer. So while you're out, fucking playing the game, some prick can run in and take your level fucking 15 guy, and you have to go back and go into his shit and get him, or you have to pay for the privilege to get him, or you don't do anything and they get to keep him.
Nice.
So there's this weird paranoia about how good do you want your character to be, like how good you want your individual characters to be, because it's kind of that XCOM thing of like they could fucking die on the next floor, or they could get kidnapped now. So it's like, you want to build people up because it helps you progress, but you never want to be like dependent on them, like to the point because you could lose them in an instant.
And What happens if you lose all your characters? Like,
I mean, you can you
you
there's
get
no limit
you
to
get like
like
a
how
free replacement or something. They're just
you,
back to
you're constantly replacing them because you like I said, the game expects you to die.
Yeah.
Um, so you just go back to like kind of the character start screen. Uncle Death slaps them on a cart and literally wheels them up to you, and so like I've never ran out of all three of my characters because you can always you have at least now you start with 3 slots, and so I always have at least one backup. That will probably change when these multiplayer sons of bitches come and take my shit.
See, when they announced the game and the little bit I've seen of it, I just got the impression that it was going to be like a multiplayer arena battle. Like it was nothing but like PvP. So this is all very interesting to me to hear. Because it came out, I haven't really looked up anything on it because I don't have a PlayStation. So
I streamed a little bit of my first session with it.
Yep, it's playing in the background now because I found it. I'm in Sherlock Holmes of Twitch.
Quick.
And it's actually giving me a pretty good, well, actually,
I mean,
it gives me an impression of the gameplay, but I would have had no idea about like the permadeath and the invading and stuff.
Yeah. So you do have a way if you die on a floor or whatever, the game gives you these death metal tokens, which you can use one immediately. You'll come back right away. Even if you're in the middle of a boss fight, their health bar is still down. But those are part of what the game is kind of in the free-to-play stuff trying to sell you.
Yeah.
So far, like, I mean, I don't have a lot, but I've gotten a fair chunk of death metals, and I'm afraid to use them because there might be a point where I really need to respawn and not lose some shit. But like the game offers you, like, that's how they're trying to like make their money in it with this stuff, and that's the one thing I don't really like about the game is that the free to play stuff, I don't understand like how it all works, and I feel like it kind of convolutes the entire experience because like you can buy death metals for these insurance continues, and if you buy this thing, you can use this elevator and there will be no like charge from the in-game currency to get back to a floor you were on. So like I don't fully understand all the features of the free to play stuff, and I honestly would have preferred to just fucking pay them up front because the game they made is really interesting and really fun to play. It's not understanding like, all right, how are you trying to get money from me? And if you offer me something that sounds really good, but then you slap a price tag on that instead of just like charging me for the game and letting the game kind of it feels like a lot of the systems could have flourished if they were just sort of if they didn't have to find little ways to like put price tags on stuff.
Right. Because the problem there is they always have to find a way to convince you to buy them too. Like,
right. And I understand that. Like, they made a great game. I want it to work out for them. I don't think it will. Because it seems like the gameplay I'm sure there are people who are on the complete opposite end of me. Like,
I've heard good things, but
well, I mean, I've heard positive things about it, but then like I go on to forums and I ask these questions of like, okay, what is the specifics of the free to play model? And then I just get like forum threads of this game is fucking bullshit.
Well, and that's the problem you run into is games. There's always a temptation for a developer to make it so it's like, oh, the game's really addicting and you get pretty far and then you can't possibly progress without buying.
Well, this game throws that. It's not true, but it threw something at that to me pretty quickly. So an interesting aspect of the game is the haters system, which is their version kind of invasions. When a character dies, if I understand this right, when a character dies, they become an enemy, maybe in your own world. Like if your own character dies, you might have to fight them. But they might go into other people's games as well. So there are situations where you're on the first floor and a level 25 character is hunting you, basically. And that is like pants shitting scary because they kill you almost fucking immediately. And I was kind of like, well, fuck, people might be right. This is bullshit. How the hell do I do it? And this is when I kind of fell in love with the game, honestly. When I realized this level 25 prick who like had killed like 3 of my guys, yeah, I was level 1 and I realized I could sneak up on him. And when I snuck up on him, I was on kind of a higher ledge than he was. And wrestling fans will love this. The like surprise attack on him is a fucking hurricanrana. So you jump up and like fucking land your legs over him and flip him on his head, and it's like, you know, luchador shit. And so like that did a huge chunk of damage, and then they're down and you can stomp on them. If you just get the jump on a guy in a normal way, like you do a suplex. There might be different surprise attacks depending on what weapon you have equipped. I've always been bare-fisted when I've had the opportunity, but it is that over-the-top goofball combat that is really satisfying, that really carries the game, despite those moments where you feel like the game's trying to get you to pay for something. Because up to that point I was like, well, fuck, is the game saying I need to buy more shit to continue? Or because it felt really forced. But the game actually does a good job of like, no, you have advantages here. A level 1 character can beat a level 20. You know, but you got to be smart and you got to be careful. And then when you have the opportunity, you fucking go for broke and rip them in half. You know, it's kind of a shame that it's only on the PS4, but if you have a PS4, you should really try it. It's a free download. You have nothing to lose except your time, and that's not worth much if you're hearing my voice.
Right,
so,
exactly. No, they just showed the part because you were going through the tutorial like stuff, and then you kill the people, and all of a sudden some sniper just like blasts a hole in your chest. It gets really fucking crazy from there. That was. I do like a skateboarding like Reaper, but almost like Jigsaw guy from Saw, with a golf club that turns into a scythe. Like,
he's awesome. Like you meet him, and then he's like, he tries to do like a cool skateboard away, like he's doing tricks and shit, and then he falls on his fucking face. And but there's also like this like mystery about him, where it's like I don't like in the game, you know, he has some superpowers, but then out of the game, is he just some fucking dude in a Grim Reaper costume, or is he like what is? Am I going crazy, or is this game just insane?
It makes me wonder though, like, is LSD just free in Japan? Like,
I don't fucking you can't blame this on Japan, because this is, you know, and that's another thing. Like, it feels really good to like have to play a Suda51 game that I like, you know, because like I won't sit here and say I played all of them, but the ones I have played, like No More Heroes and stuff, like I didn't. It was that Suda? I think it was.
I think so. And Chainsaw Lollipop, or whatever, Lollipop Chainsaw, whichever.
Yeah, Lollipop Chainsaw.
That was like the last one I remember of him, but.
Yeah, I played the demo for Lollipop Chainsaw, and it didn't do anything for me. I didn't think the combat was that great, and that game is pretty much all combat. To have one that's, you know, insane in all the right ways and fun as hell to play, like that's really cool. And not having to pay for anything about it is also really cool, because I'm broke. But at the same time,
I say that is one of the cool stories about one of the 2 times I actually got to go to PAX. It was right before Lollipop Chainsaw came out. Well, not right before. It was in development, but they had it there. That's what they were showing. And while I was in, they had this like bus. You might remember it because there's a lot of
Yeah.
that. What's her name? Jessica Negri or whatever, the cosplayer. She was there like dressed as the protagonist, and there was some drama there about like it was too skimpy for the PAX's liking and this and that. But whatever. They had like a school bus set up, like a short one, but just like from the game, and they had the game inside. They were showing it off there. And so I was in there, playing it and getting my turn on that. And I come out and like my wife's just like sitting there talking to Suda and his interpreter. And then of course all the fans were coming up to him, and he's like the coolest. You would think, because he's probably one of the bigger names over there. I mean,
Yeah, he's in that sort of cloud of like upper echelon developer personas.
Especially when you're over here in the U.S. and there's kind of that like Japanese mystique too about them. Not mystique's probably the wrong word, but like, it's
well,
not like
there is there is a mystique in the sense of like you can't imagine like a Western developer doing what a Suda does,
right? So you could be somebody like that, and you think you could be like really conceited or stuck up, or even just like walking around like you're such a superstar. And he was the most down to earth person there. Like he would meet with every fan, he was talking to them and shaking their hands and that kind of stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I actually have Suda51's business card like in my desk at work. Like, of course it's not like
one day I'll give him a call.
Yeah, yo, what up? What do you mean you can't understand me? What do you mean it's 3 a.m. over there?
You immediately hang up like like scared to ask him out on a date. Like,
and that's
Jesus.
the funniest thing is I didn't talk to him. It's just my wife happened to be standing there when he came by while I was on. I saw him, but
yeah.
I was busy because after I came out, I had an interview with one of the designers of the game.
Which I love. Like I love, because in a situation like that, I would be saying like, do you fucking realize who you're talking to?
Yeah, I was,
but everybody else would just be like,
this guy was right over here. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, to me, I still get like starstruck. Even by just game developers. Like I just said, like I've never really played Suda51 games, and I would still be like, fuck, that's Suda51, dude. He's fucking eating soup like us.
Because you talk to, when we were over there, we talked to tons of developers and whatever, but when it's one like that, it's just such a recognizable like name in the industry. It is kind of interesting, but I've never been like one of those, like, a lot of times people are like, oh, if you could have like drinks with a celebrity, who would it be? I'm like, I don't know, because I'd be like the least fun fan to have drinks with, because I'd just be like, hey, what's up? Because it's just too weird to me to treat somebody like they're like some god among men. But I don't know. There's certain ones. Kojima would be, especially since he doesn't speak English very well. I don't think he speaks any of it. I think he understands. I don't know.
I would tell Kojima I'm a huge fan of these Death Stranding trailers.
Yes, that's kind of where I was trying to segue that too. The stupid Game Awards, they were terrible. In that, well, that's the wrong description, but it's just funny to me because they're they should just drop the pretense of it being an award show, and because it's really like the game commercials, and we mentioned some awards that are kind of bullshit anyway.
Just call it like the 2016 game show
showcase or something.
Yeah. If they just like said like, hey, this is a big event, that would be fine. When they like go through like when there's like a difference between like action and an action adventure category, like I just realized like how stupid.
The funny thing is too, they're like, oh, the 2016 Game Awards, here's this new trailer, here's this other trailer, and here's some commercials, and here's Razor Blade Man dude, and then they're like, so they would have these like 5-minute segments on each of these things. Some of them are cool. I liked seeing the trailers, but that's not a Game Awards show. And then literally, like, after 15 or 20 minutes of the show, there was one point where they switched back to Jeffrey, what is it? Naley Kingsley? I don't know his last name. The
Jeff Cayley.
Kaylee. They cut back to him, and there's like, oh, and the winners in the this, and this categories are like they just breezed over like 4 categories. They're like, oh, this game wins this game wins this game. You know, they didn't even like. Obviously, they didn't sit and hand out trophies and bring people up for every single category. But it was hilarious to me that they'd spend 20 minutes on commercials basically, and then be like, and these games won this. The award show. It's like, wait.
Right. Yeah, I can't watch it. I admit, like I can't.
I had it on, but I was sat at my computer doing other stuff.
I mean, I literally can't watch it. I don't have cable in my room, but
well, I was watching it on Twitch, but they had it streaming on basically every video service you could think of. I think like they were beaming it up to the space station too. But the Death Stranding trailer was. It's funny because we've said this for years because we've been doing the show way too fucking long. And we know better, and we've had examples of it forever. But this is the second trailer that we've got. The first one's like, here's naked Norman Reedus holding a baby on a beach with a bunch of stuff around him.
And I can't turn away as much as I want.
Right. And then this is like, here's a character that's actually Guillermo del Toro and...
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. And what the fuck is going on? Here's some tanks with squids falling off of them and more babies like disappearing and floating, you know, a doll floating down and this and that. And like, we have no idea what kind of game this even is. I mean, this could be like a match 4 solitaire game.
Did you see the thing where Mads Mikkelsen was like asked about it? He was like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on in that trailer. Like, I don't understand it.
But at the same time, you watch that and it's like, I have to have it. Like pre-order day 1. It's like, I don't even know what kind of game it is.
I mean, I won't go that far because you know me and Kojima games have a history where it's like Metal Gear Solid 5 I loved, and then you know the rest of the series I will watch other people play and enjoy on that level.
Well, and it could be promising to say like, oh, Metal Gear Solid 5 was great, but it was still constrained to the weirdness that is Metal Gear. So to have a game like that, but to be open, but it won't use that engine or anything. That's all Konami's property. So like, and that was a big part of on the PlayStation experience, which was like the next day or whatever, that the Sony like 2 or 3 day conference. I watched an interview with Kojima and the guys Guerrilla Games are who they're teaming up with for the engine and stuff. So, I mean, we literally have no idea. You can't just assume that it's going to be like, oh, it's going to take like the Metal Gear 5 elements. Maybe. But he's going to have to do it from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm really curious because, like, this is... I think if he just goes to a Metal Gear model, like, it'll be kind of disappointing to me because, like, this is a really good opportunity to, like flex your muscles a little bit and, you know, see what type of game you can make. That's what made Silent Hill so interesting to me, was the idea of like, okay, what will he do in the context of a genre that, like, you can't be Solid Snake in Silent Hill. You'll fucking kill everything, you know? So, I think it'll be really interesting to see, like, what of his own conventions will he break for this? You know, but I don't have any expectations for the game because they haven't shown us anything about the game. I just appreciate how fucking weird the trailers are. It was kind of the Phantom Pain thing of like, you know what, this doesn't fucking tell us anything except it's probably Metal Gear, and it's, you know, it looks weird.
But I'll admit, if nothing else, he's grabbing some really cool people for this project with Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus, and the one I'm most excited about is having Guillermo del Toro
hugging a baby.
Well, not that he's in the game. That was interesting, but that he's tied to the production of it. I think he's helping with the writing and stuff. And Guillermo, he's another one of those, though. I think he's a genius. He's got a lot of his works that I love, but you never know what you're going to get until you get it. There's a lot of his stuff that I'm not a huge fan of either. But
yeah, it'll be really fucking weird.
I love how much Guillermo. I put the trailer up in the background, and I love how he waddles when he walks in this.
Yeah, he just, oh my god, like, Yeah, and you just see him staring down that tunnel, and then like when fucking Mads fucking shows up with the goddamn fucking possessed soldiers or whatever the fuck, you just like it's weird for like only Kojima could do like a cinematic trailer like that and inspire any sort of emotion out of me, because like when you follow games for as long as we have, you're kind of numb to them. Like you're numb to most trailers in general, and trailers that don't show you shit,
right?
Like you're especially kind of like disconnected from. And here, like I'm watching this, I'm like, oh shit, don't go down that tunnel. Like,
yeah, and then you're like, what's this like baby in a tube? Well, at first it's just he's carrying something, and then it's like, oh, a fetus, that's cool.
Yeah,
and then like there's the baby doll that's floating, and it's like any like movie. That's what's the other cool thing I think with Guillermo being attached is probably helping direct these kind of like moments. You get a very cinematic like. Oh, the camera like focuses on it. It looks like it's just rubble, like this doll floating in like with the tide, and then it cuts back and the thing starts flashing, and then when it gets to Mad's character's like feet, it's like what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah,
and you got this like almost zombie looking army going over top of the bridge. Like I said, the tank, one of the coolest things to me was that tank with like the look like squid parts or something falling off of it. Like none of it makes a fucking lick of sense. Like there's not one thing that an average person could look at and be like, oh yeah, I relate to that.
Like everything in these trailers is like stuck in some fucking weird Kojima nightmare state. It's fascinating. Like a whole game of that sounds really interesting. If nothing else, I don't know if it'll be good.
Well, the thing you got to question, will it ever come out? Because as much as there was that animosity there, and as bitterly as that ended between Konami and Kojima, is Kojima had Konami like basically like, you need to release this fucking game. Without that, like sometimes artists need something to rein them in a bit. Otherwise, we find ourselves like drawing and erasing the same lines over and over again because they're never perfect to us. So it'll be interesting to see what he does on his own.
I'm just saying, somebody pointed this out on Twitter the other day. Like, we got Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian in the same year. I believe anything can come out now. like this, I have no doubt that he will finish that game because fuck it. Everything gets done now, apparently.
But it might not be till 2032, so...
Look, I'm not saying we'll be alive to play it. I'm saying, we'll be in, fucking... America will have long since become fucking Trump land, the theme park, and, most of civilization will be wiped out. But he will somehow, crawl out of his bunker and say, hey, I finished.
God, that look on his character's face right at the end of the trailer there. It's creepy and...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you're going to have a fucking villain, way to pick it.
So that was cool. I had to go back because I didn't expect the Game Awards to... Like, it started at, I think, 8 Eastern. Might not have started till 9. But, like, it went strong until, like, midnight, which would have been fine if it was all good stuff. But it was, like I said, like, here's 20 minutes of commercials, whether they be literal commercials, which they had, or fucking Chick Hydro Man, like, running around in the audience, or, like, 2 musical acts that made no fucking sense whatsoever for the venue. It was all that shit. Like, if it was all trailers and awards, great, but it wasn't. So I ended up, we actually had to run out somewhere, even though it was like a weeknight. We had to go out before midnight, before they closed. So I missed the Andromeda stuff, Mass Effect. I went back the next day and watched it. And
good God. The fucking faces are so funny to me.
Well, it's funny because I thought they were okay in like the... I don't know what her name is, but the woman that was like running that outpost, basically the NPC that you had to confront there, I thought they were okay. They weren't great, but they were okay. But your character face, it looked like you ate shellfish, but you've been deathly allergic to shellfish your whole fucking life.
Yeah, you're just inflated, and then like
it was
like just this permanent smile, like I don't want any trouble.
they were Bethesda faces, is what they were. I mean,
Yeah.
and I get from an animation standpoint, a little bit of that in my background. I don't want to make it sound like I was ever professional at it, but I understand the differences with the NPCs that don't change. You can create your model exactly one way and animate it specifically for that scene. For the player character in Mass Effect, they've always had customization. So you have to kind of go about it a different way so that it works with like all these different body shapes and face shapes and whatever. But man, I hope they fucking put more time into that because that was terrible.
Yeah, and you know, like they said, like we're working hard on our facial animations. Like,
oh, did they say that?
please, yeah, they're like after everybody was like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "Yeah, look, we're still working on that."
Well, and that's telling because to be honest, the game, Mass Effect games are good. You could say they're great. I'm obviously not the biggest fan. I haven't even.
Two is great. Two is great. This series as a whole is good.
And Andromeda looks really cool. But when one little thing like facial animation is so bad that it literally overshadowed everything else about that trailer that they showed off, that's a problem. But it was a funny problem.
Well, it has to be a huge bullet point for them because no matter what they do with the combat, no matter how many planets you go to, the core gameplay of Mass Effect is character interaction,
right?
And if you, and that story's told through constant conversations, and it's like if you don't, and I'm confident they will get it down, and it was probably they were probably they probably rushed some shit out. But
or what could have been is that they had it set to like randomly generate the facial like features for that. It's just made some fat-faced person like.
Well, I don't know like how how difficult it is. Like I know you're probably busting your ass to get something out there that you can show off, but how hard would it be to go into like the model thing and like turn the eyebrows down and get rid of the fucking smile?
It was bad.
Yeah, it was goofy.
Prey, everybody was losing their shit over Prey, and I didn't think it looked that good. I don't know.
I didn't watch anything for it. It just doesn't like I know they showed something, but like the launch trailer didn't look that interesting to me. I don't have any affection for the series, so I'm not like.
Well, and it has nothing to really do with the series anyway. But it's
not even like on a reboot standpoint. I'm not like, oh, now I can get into Prey. Like,
I think the biggest thing is it looked like a sci-fi space BioShock. And I'm like, that's great. I don't like BioShock, so. Yeah. And I'm always going to be as irrational as it may or may not be. I'm always going to be a little salty that we're not getting the like Blade Runner-esque alien bounty hunter game that we were fucking promised 4 years ago. That sounded so goddamn cool. Like, oh, you're tracking these marks down. It was basically Intergalactic Hitman, and that sounds awesome to me. And they're like, well, we can't do that, but instead you can shoot stuff and you have magic powers. I'm like, great. I haven't been able to do that before.
That sounds great, Steve, but what if it were BioShock in space and System Shock had never existed?
Right. And it's like, oh, you're in space, but then these mutants start appearing, and it's like kind of a sci-fi space horror thing. It's like, okay. Well, that's about my least. Shock. Yeah. But everybody lost their shit over it when they showed the trailer. Like, that looks so good. I'm like, no, it doesn't. But you have a right to believe that because everybody gets their own opinions, but I am not.
Yeah.
That's our hard stance at Njoystic is like it if you want. You know.
Did you see our hero Randy Pitchford's great response to the Bulletstorm criticism?
I did not. I will say, and I don't hate Randy Pitchford, although the products that they've put out recently, more or less, have been terrible.
But he's not ingratiated.
Well, and he looked like a walking corpse on stage. I mean, the dude looks like he hasn't slept in years.
He hasn't slept since Duke Nukem. Right. Duke Nukem happened. But yeah. So the Bulletstorm full clip edition thing, like we talked about it a bit on Twitter. I didn't play the original game. I heard good things about it. I'm curious about it, but I'm wondering how that game will hold up in a world after Doom, which was so fast-paced and so fucking well made.
And I still think it would have a spot because this is like that fast-paced, but it's like that arcadey, like zany, Serious Sam fast-paced.
Well, yeah, and it has like the combo system sort of thing, so it's like a fast shooter mixed with a little like Tony Hawk in there.
We talked about it when it originally came out. My thing was they made it painfully clear, or well, they didn't because it turned out to not be true. But through the whole development and all the press releases I'd get on the game and all the marketing on the game, the commercials and stuff. Literally, like, since the game was announced to the time it came out originally, every marketing, like every commercial, every trailer, every press release was basically, you can shove a grenade in an alien's ass. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, we call it the 8-ball. And it's
right. And literally, they would refer to, and I'm not making that, I'm not being exaggerating. That bullet point specifically was hit every fucking time they talked about the game.
Hey, so you got bonus points anytime you shot anybody in the ass. I played a demo.
Yeah. And so for someone like me that wasn't 13 at the time, I'm like, well, this just seems really like I have nothing wrong with the ability to do that, but if that's the only thing that you're talking about, it leads me to believe that your game's just some like immature like ha 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 potty joke game. Like I'm 34, I've seen that all before, and it takes more than that to get me interested. Apparently the game itself was actually pretty good, so it was a shame. It sounded like it was just a terrible marketing campaign.
Well, I wouldn't even, from what I know about the game, like that tone is pretty true to what that game is.
But it was apparently fun. Like,
yeah, well, and they definitely laid it on thick in the advertising and stuff, and that kind of turned me off to it at the time. But also just around that time that game came out, I didn't have a lot of disposable income. Thought always going through my head, I was like, oh, I'll pick that up when it's on sale. This game is never fucking on sale. Like, even now, like when I had Steam,
do that. They're like,
well, Gearbox doesn't own the original, and we'll get to that.
Yeah. That's right. People Can Fly. Yeah.
So even on Steam, like it's still $20, which seems insane to me. And during sales and stuff, it's never knocked down. But anyway, people were like, because we've got a lot of HD upgrades this year, Skyrim Special Edition, Darksiders, Bioshock remasters, and one of the common things those all had was, like, if you had the previous game, if on PC, and sometimes on consoles, you got the upgrade for free. And people were asking about this Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, would they have that? Or even like a discount.
Like an
upgrade. Because we were talking about it, like they're fucking insane.
Yeah,
I think they charge $50
for this. That's where they showed this, and I thought, yeah, I almost said it before, and you said you didn't get to play it. I thought, well, given what I've heard since, this might be my opportunity to get to check this game out. No, not $50.
It is a total like coffee spit take moment to like $50
but they added Duke Nukem into it, so
the game doesn't even. You can upgrade the visuals all you want. It's not Wind Waker. Like, you're not doing some dramatic shit. Like, this is a shooter. This is a goddamn Space Marine shooter. Like, and yeah, you're doing fucking wacky shit with it, but like, I can't imagine like the work they're doing in, only justifies like a $10 discount from a full price game. Like, that just seems insane to me. But that's what they're going with. So people were on Randy Pitchford shit like, well, will we get a free upgrade if we own the original? And he was like, we can't do that because we don't own the original. So it's not our say. Like, we have to charge for this thing. Like, we can't just have that.
They can charge whatever just the royalty amount is, though. Like, you can still give it like discounted.
And that's my position, is like, you could still, like, the reality is this shouldn't be $50. And, and I said it best on Twitter. Doom is cheaper. Everyone should just go play Doom.
I got Doom for $40 like 2 weeks after it came out, or the
Yeah.
week after it came out. Like,
And
why
part
would
of
I pay
that,
$50 for this HD upgrade of a 4-year-old
and part of
game?
that's just, the two different ideas of business. Part of that's Bethesda being stupid and like, not really getting the word out of like how fucking great Doom was before it came out. So,
Well,
um,
I think, and I might have cheated because I say I got it for $40 and I did, but it was like one of those. I got it off of like Green Man Gaming or something where they had like a one-time like 15% off coupon that you could use,
yeah.
and it could apply to
But
any
I
game.
mean,
But
even like now, like with these, especially with these winter sales, like you can pick it up for under 20 probably. Like I think that's what it was during like the Black Friday shit.
yeah, I think it was
Um,
right around like 19 something, and might have been
yeah,
cheaper than that. I do. All I remember is tweeting like, if you haven't played this and you don't pick it up now, you're a moron. Basically, like
yeah,
get this game. But
yeah.
anyway,
It's really good. But so Randy Pitchford, they were like, we can't do it. It's not. We don't own the original. So $50, and then like people were like, "That's insane," and marketing genius here. And I mean, he's in a fucking tough spot because he probably doesn't individually set the prices. But
right.
he's like, well, if that's too much for you, then you should probably hold off.
Well,
Which is like, all right, great sales pitch, man. Like,
yeah.
come on.
He,
Like,
like I said, one thing I like about him is he stands up for what he believes in, and he doesn't waffle on that, and I respect that out of a person.
sure.
But he does seem to make some, well, and I keep saying he because his name's at the. Who, I don't know who all Gearbox like makes those decisions. He's one of the main ones, of course. I don't know if he's the only main one, but they make some very, very bad business decisions, like picking up the Aliens license for Colonial Marines, picking up Duke Forever. That was terrible.
Which anyone with a mind would have known was fucking busted.
If he was going to do that, they needed to be like, we're buying the rights to the name Duke Nukem, and we're making our own game from scratch.
Right.
No.
Just throw that forever shit out.
From the sounds of it, that's basically what happened with Colonial Marines as well. I think they took that over like halfway through multiple like development fails, and were just like, we'll get it out there. And
right.
maybe we're both wrong. Maybe despite like, if you don't mind being called names and people hating you, maybe they're making money off of these, but I don't see how. Because
I don't think so. I mean, because like besides Borderlands, what do they have?
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense to me. But here's my thing with what he said. Nobody is worse at self-promotion and PR than me. And I'm even looking at that, and I'm like, how do you not know? The answer to that isn't like, well, maybe you should hold off. The answer is like, look, we know it seems unreasonable, but the team is busting their ass to make sure this is worth $50.
Right. Wait till you play it, or wait till it comes out and see the work we've put into it.
We're not just making it prettier. We are,
But that's what I mean.
You're adding content to it. This is going to be worth your money if you liked the original.
And that's what I mean, though. That goes into, and that kind of reinforces my suspicions when I said he looked like a corpse up on stage, a talking corpse. Because that's not a dig at anybody. I'm far be it from me to criticize anybody's personal appearance, because you can see this face right here. But that almost sounds like he's just had like maybe he's just to that point where he's hit his breaking point where he just doesn't fucking care anymore. He's tired. Gamers are a very exhausting group of people to deal with on a daily basis.
Absolutely. My advice then is get the fuck off Twitter. It's saved.
Yeah, if you love the industry and games are in your blood and you're not ready to quit that, just quit interacting with them. Let your
fuck
PR
off on
people
social
do
media.
That. That's what they're for.
Right. And and you'll probably find you are happier and probably with a clearer head.
I mean, there's a certain budding world leader that I think would benefit from that as well. I mean,
but outside of armchair diagnosis of somebody we've never met, I think it was more telling that that was his response instead of saying, "Look, we are going to make this worth $50." It's probably because they're not going to make it worth 50 fucking dollars.
Yeah, wow.
This is probably just an
thing,
HD
that's
remaster.
In fairness, it looks gorgeous. Like they've
Sure, like it's like I don't have any problem with that. I think the price point is ridiculous,
yeah.
though.
Well, the thing is, if I wouldn't spend that on it when it was brand new, why the fuck would I spend it on it again when it's 5 years old? 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I keep changing the age to fit like
It's 5 years old. It's 9. It's 25 years old.
God,
This is a 70-year-old video game.
right.
It's ridiculous.
Although it's funny because when Bulletstorm came out, like I said, I didn't have a great opinion of it just based on the marketing. And I heard it, and again, I don't want to hear it say, "Oh," and then it came out and was great. It didn't. It's more of a cult classic. It came out. It's not like it hit the market by storm and everybody was buying it, but it did have managed to get a pretty dedicated fan base and people loved it. Adrian, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I want to say it's not Polish, but like one of those, one of those countries over there.
There's America, and then there's Europe, and then there's Spain, and
countries over there.
From China land, yeah.
But he was with People May Fly. He worked on Bulletstorm. After that, he and I think maybe somebody else from there and a couple people from outside the studio formed their own indie. He's the one that made Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which I like that game a lot. In fact, I've just recommended it to people like 3 separate times in the last 2 weeks. And he was a pretty cool dude. Like when the game was in development, I thought it looked cool and reached out and he, did interviews and stuff and when we're nobodies like we are and people agree to talk to us, that puts him in my good book. So I would have
don't want to be in your bad book.
If it was something where it's like, oh, he would somehow still get residuals from that, that would help a little bit, knowing like, oh, the money is going to somebody that I actually like. But I don't think it is. I'm no like copyright licensing guru.
It's just that,
but
it's that business thing of like not knowing the value of what you have ends up fucking hurting you more than any. Like, yeah, you can charge $50, but I guarantee you would make more if it were 40. Like,
well, yeah, and that's I make all the time about. We've talked about. We're big crew fans here. That's our local MLS club, which for the 99% of you that don't know what that is, that's the American
rugby,
professional. Right? Pretty much, it's the professional soccer league here in the U.S. Columbus has a team, and we go to that, but up until recently, we've had season tickets for the last 5 or 6 years, and for the first like 2 or 3 years, you'd go there, and you'd have maybe 15 to 20% of the stadium full, but they're charging like the nosebleeds like way up in the upper part. You could get for like $27 a piece for tickets, which I think is a lot. But then for like a regular seat, they were still between $30 and like $60 a ticket. It's like, are you fucking insane? This is soccer, and we're in the United States. Nobody cares. But my argument was always, and this does apply to what we're talking about, if instead of selling at 1 ticket out of every 10 for $20, if you sold 8 tickets for $10, you'd make way the fuck more money. Like, I don't get it. And they do that with games too. Although I was in a conversation on Twitter recently about like mobile games and just downloadable games in general, where I think they've done too much on the opposite end of undervaluing their product. There's a whole bunch of people out there that think it's insane to ever even pay for a video game, because why would you pay for a game? It's just a game.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about Let It Die. In some ways, I think that game being free to play undervalues it. But then again, maybe they know something I don't, and they know people will buy those fucking continue tokens. And
well, the one argument I would maybe make for Let It Die being free to play is it's the kind of game from the kind of developer where if they charged up front, nobody might have given it a shot.
I would not have, but even as it's free to play, I would not have played it if Jeff Gerstmann didn't say on Twitter, "I'm liking it." Like, so it's that same thing where like, if people you're interested in, whose opinions you value, if they recommend something, you will try it. That word of mouth.
Moral of the story, PR people, is keep paying off those YouTubers and
Yeah.
streamers and stuff.
Yeah. Get giant bomb in your pocket and you'll
Right.
get my dollar.
That's what's funny. Not to launch into that whole debate, but the, everybody, especially a couple years ago, the whole all games journalists are bought off and paid for, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
And we talked about it, and our opinion was very clear. I wish.
I wish.
I
Right?
wish we were bought
Well,
off.
here's the funny thing is I'm sure it happens to publications, but nowhere near the extent of what people were claiming. On the flip side, though, now like everybody's like, yeah, fuck the publications. They're all biased and paid off, and they're in the publishers' pockets. Let's watch these streamers and let's play. There is nothing.
The most orchestrated fucking promotional thing on the planet. Like, yeah, I was listening to a lot of clips from like the Bombcast about like back when Bethesda's review policies and stuff recently were fresh news, and they were talking about like they remember the early days of like, like they were talking about like you see a kid in his bedroom with a game, but that's actually like a carefully like orchestrated business deal.
Right.
You think it's just, and unfortunately that's not me. And I'm a fucking kid in my bedroom,
Yeah.
and I can't get a goddamn check. Let it die. Hit me up.
But that's what's funny. And there was a thread recently on Reddit or NeoGAF or one of those places, because people were bitching about one of the press kits for one of the big games that just came out. It was one of those that had to be. It was a Sony game. What was the big Sony game that just probably Last Guardian? But the press kit had stuff in it like, oh, here's a the statue and the special box and all this and that. And like, look, fucking public games journals. Look, they're being bought off. And so it's like, well,
They're not bought off like you or me, where it's like, wow.
Here's the thing: a lot of publication, and that's what the people were saying. And it might have been Gerstmann, but I don't think it was. But it was one of those Rainier, whatever. One of those guys. They're like, what? We get so much of that shit that it means nothing to us, and most of it sits in piles at like the headquarters, like just fucking shoved in a closet somewhere.
Yeah. But oddly enough, a lot like our pre-order bonuses,
right?
And
that's to me, and this will sound like it means nothing from people like us sticking up for them, but most journalists, good journalists, ones that make their living and livelihood off of the medium, off of writing and being a journalist and have any self-respect whatsoever, you might get those. You might even like them. You might even be like, "Oh, that's fucking sweet.
that's
I got
cool.
this."
Wow, Skyrim statue. Yeah,
it's not going to affect your score or your coverage.
Yeah,
you've got too much at stake for that.
Jeff Gerstmann told this is a little off topic, but Gerstmann told a great story. I don't know if it was the regular Bombcast or the one they were doing with the people who work on the East Coast. But he was talking about how back when he worked at GameSpot, like a game company wanted to talk to a reviewer at GameSpot, and he was like, okay. And so he like kind of spent the day with these developers talking about their game, hanging out and all this shit, and it was like a good time. And then like Gerstmann was not the one reviewing that game, so they got fucking mad at him, and they're like, we felt deceived. And he's like, look, I didn't say I was the reviewer for you. You asked to meet somebody in the review department.
Right. And that's certainly not to say these companies aren't trying to buy the reviews off. Sure they are. But if I had to trust somebody that's a professional journalist at an actual publication whose, day-to-day job depends on writing pieces and keeping, in touch with its fans, or some random fucker on YouTube, because you better believe those people on YouTube are getting the same exact damn kits. Like, that's what pissed me off so much about this thread. They're like, fucking journalists. And I was like, those YouTubers are getting this too, you assholes. Like,
yeah. Here's why I think, because it's the same situation. There are some streamers who are independent, and then there are some streamers who, as fucking personal as you think they are on their stream, they're in somebody's pocket.
Yeah.
Um,
Some of them have actual contracts with.
what has changed though is reviews don't fucking matter anymore.
Well, yeah.
and
And it's funny because
and even like a fucking streamer who's on the payroll, like people aren't necessarily just going for that streamer. Like now people can see the game, and and it does help to have somebody playing it and saying like, wow, this is awesome.
But you can only lie so much. True.
Right.
But yeah, and it's been hilarious. I do have to say, from that side, to see a lot of the traditional journalists and traditional reviewers recently bitching because they can't get review copies, but these YouTubers are. It's like, well, it's because they figured out reviews don't mean anything. Let's Plays do.
Why, if some teams, I think we shouldn't all follow the same model. But if you're a big company and people are going to fucking buy Fallout, you're Bethesda and people are going to buy Fallout 4, why the fuck would you put that gamble on yourself?
Right.
To where it's like, well, it's
it's broken.
yeah, especially with Fallout 4, where people are going to be like, well, it's fucking broken. It is a gamble, because even if you are certain you have a great game, the review scores might not reflect it, and that might fuck you over.
And they've also figured out all it takes is one. It might be a completely unfair thing that your game gets bombed for, like it's not actually broken, but people are like, oh well, this one female character has this line, and then a male character says this. It's the biggest piece of shit ever. Don't buy this game. Like, yeah,
when personal. I have the problem with we're at now is like I don't think reviews have gotten that much worse. I think a lot more people are doing them. So percentage wise, I think it's still probably pretty even, but it feels like there's more reviewers complaining about stupid shit and imposing their own personal pet peeves instead of really taking a look like, is this something the game does that's bad, or do I just not like this particular aspect? The problem is people don't get their opinions on games that way anymore. It is, unfortunately, no matter how good of a writer you are, it is much more of a pain in the ass to read a review and try to understand it and try to get a picture of a game than it is to just go watch someone play the fucking game.
Right.
And that's unfortunately where we are.
That's fortunate, because now every review that I would ever write it's all right, but it's not Dark Souls.
Yeah, so on a scale of 1 to Dark Souls, it's not Dark Souls.
Although it sounds like Let It Die would be like, it's a 9 Dark Souls or an 8 Dark Souls.
Look, it's on its way to Dark Souls, but it's an either or,
But no, so that said, it sounds like both of us want to try to do more streaming. Although you're streaming relevant stuff, I'm streaming a 8-year-old game after making fun of remaking a 5-year-old.
I mean, the Mega Man streams are coming. Don't worry.
Those are fun because
we're going down the rabbit hole soon. I'm actually, I haven't set a date yet, but I want to before Christmas. I would like to do a day where I play through the entire Legacy collection as sort of like a mini sort of marathon. And then, when I have a little more flexibility and I can play the other games, I would like to do the entire classic series in one sitting.
That's like your forte. When you do fuck up in that game, I love it because I know how much worse it has to be for you when I'm there to point out that you fucked up.
Well, yeah, when I've played Mega Man every day for over a year,
right,
and then I fuck up, yeah, it bothers me. No.
But no, I liked you streamed. I think it was Legacy that you were streaming before. Yeah. And they're fun streams.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I really want to like. I want to be able to stream more things in general. There is another Hitman thing coming out where you you can be Santa.
Yeah, is
So
that I saw the release on that, but it almost sounded like they were like, "Oh, first episode of season 2." Is this coming for season 1? Like, if you have the season pass, do you get it, or is it?
I'm not sure, but I know if I have the means, I will play it and I will stream it because Hitman streams are fun for me. I don't know how fun they are to watch, but
It's like
I
we
think
talked about
I
last week. It's interesting because the first time I saw it, now granted I was at work too, so I couldn't just like drop everything, quit working, and watch you stream. But I'm like, I'll put this on. I always listen to something in the background, and for like the first like 20 minutes, it's like, yeah, you're walking around. It's like, just fucking do something. And but
Mhm.
you have to like case the place and say, and then once you start doing something, it's like
Yeah.
you hit a guy over the head with a fucking coconut, and
Yeah,
then a
it's
guitar
like the
riff went
tension of
like
the tension of like, will this fucking blow up in my face? Yeah, it's great. It's a great game. Um, but I don't know what I'm always doing in that. Let It Die. I'm probably not going to stream more of that because I'm still not entirely sure how all the systems work. But it was a good sort of one time, like, what is this weird thing? Um, but then, like the games I'm looking at now, I'm kind of looking at games that I'm pretty familiar with. I was looking at DMC because I've had that on my Steam list. I don't remember where I got it, but I have it, and it's kind of this. It's this oddball sort of like, hey, you remember when Ninja Theory fucked up a bunch of Devil May Cry things, but it still made a fun game outside of that. Um, like so, I know that game pretty well. I played a lot of it. Resident Evil 4. I thought about like just like games that are on my like personal. Like I spent a lot of time with these games. These are games I know. They might be good stream candidates. So there's no shortage of content. It's just about finding the time and finding the energy to. Because so much of my playing video games is like, all right, I'll put on a podcast and I'll play the game while I'm listening to that.
It's hard to stream while you're listening to somebody else's
Right.
podcast.
Yeah, so check out twitch.tv/McBizQuick where you'll hear me listen to the Giant Bomb guys.
If you've got a strike against your account, your audio's been muted.
How?
Oh, that just reminds me to hear. Did you see that? That's just a quick aside, but the Game Awards, when they uploaded the video to YouTube later, it got a copyright, like it got blocked for copyright because of the music in it, and that's the most hilarious thing in the world to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll beat Dark Souls here in the next year or two and move on.
I will say, if you're on that last, like when the game says like, all right, kill the 4 guys, you're well on the downhill.
Yeah, I've noticed that this is good because I would be in serious jeopardy of not finishing it if this wasn't true. But these sections where, like, when I went through Seath, Scaleless, the Duke's Archives, I always imagined that being like this huge sprawling. It was really short.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Catacombs and Tomb of the Giants, where Nito's at, is relatively short. I hope to God
I would say the witch area is probably the biggest.
The New Londo Ruins I was hoping was short because that one pissed me off. I ventured into there. I can do that. I don't have a cursed weapon for the ghost, but I've got some of the transient curses. That's the one thing is they seem short, but all 4 add these like gimmicks that I don't necessarily love.
Yeah, the Tomb of the Giants does that.
Yeah, the ghost pissed me off because I was actually like exploring and doing pretty well, and I know they can path through walls, which I get, they're fucking ghosts. But it got really cheap. I was up on a ledge, and there was a ghost coming through the wall at me, and I had to target it because I'm on a ledge. If I don't target it, I'm plummeting to my death. But when I went to target it, it targeted some ghost like halfway across the level, because normally you can only target stuff that you have a straight line of sight to, but I guess since they can path through walls, it lets you target them. And the thing ended up just like shredding me before I could even like get the camera like to see what the fuck was going on, because I don't know, that pissed me off, and I'm thinking, oh, if this is what I get to deal with in this area, I'm not real happy. But I don't think that area is that big.
No, you're right. It's more about like what they throw in to kind of fuck you up.
Plus, I'm very eager to go back there because the large or the very large ember or whatever. 'Cause I'm using the Balderside sword, which I was complaining about last week. I think I know I complained about it on Twitter. Like I just felt like, well, I picked the wrong weapon because I'm not doing shit for damage. I finally hit that magic point where my dexterity is high enough and it's upgraded to +10 that when I watch videos, I'm doing like the kind of damage that people are doing with the claymore, but with a really fast weapon. And I'm like, okay, now this is awesome all of a sudden. So I like that, but I need to get it. I want to get it to +15, so I need that ember.
I don't think there's a game I like more in terms of progression than the Dark Souls series.
Yeah.
Because just how strong you feel by the end is so satisfying when you put your effort into like mastering a certain play style.
Right, and part of it is you do get like I can go back to the beginning hollows and let them hit me, and they take like a 0.5% of my health instead of a quarter of my health bar now. So there is like some like, oh, your gear is just better. But most of it, just like by the end of, like I said, I was farming those Silver Knights trying to get a spear. By the end of it, I could fucking repost them almost every time. Like I would just walk up to them.
You feel like, wow, I could fucking take these guys level 1.
Right, and then you get to the next, like, and like, now I'm going to repost this skeleton. Nope, it just chopped my head off.
Right.
But anyway, so once I finish that, and hopefully that'll be relatively soon. It probably won't be like this week or anything, but I mean, like you said, I know I'm getting towards the end. I have installed already, and you actually mentioned this one earlier. I didn't realize that the Darkstalkers, the War Mastered Edition, I thought that looked pretty cool. I had Darkstalkers from a Humble Bundle, so that automatically got upgraded to the War Mastered Edition. So I'm interested. I may go back and check that out. I have it installed and ready to go, but I'm not firing any more of those like long games up until I'm done with Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I picked up Skyrim on the sale, and then the fuckers turned around and put the new limited edition on sale. I talked about that last week. I didn't think they would. That's on me because I knew the big sales were going on, but I'm like, this game literally just came out. It's not going to go... Because I got Skyrim, just a vanilla version, for like $3. I'm like, it's not going to go on sale that much. The limited edition went on sale for $6. It's like, you bastards.
Right.
But anyway, so I've got that sitting there. Dark Souls 2, I'm not going to start for a while. I did want to talk about, just real briefly, I'll be writing about it and streaming it this week, too, and between now and the next podcast. A really cool game called Beholder. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like an indie type game. The premise is you're in this like dystopian. I don't want to say future because it's all like current or even actually like a little bit older technology, but you're appointed by your government to be the landlord of this like building. But the reason they appoint you is because they want you to spy on the civilians for them in a very Orwellian, like, as you play, like these new edicts will come out where they're like, oh, it's now illegal to whistle this tune in front of a government official. Like, just like ridiculous stuff. And you have to like spy on the tenants without them knowing that you're spying on them. And it puts you in this dilemma, like, as you arrive to the building with your family, like you've got a wife and 2 kids, you like walk through the doors and they're like dragging that half beaten to death body of the last landlord out. And they're like, oh yeah, he wasn't very good at his job. So it puts you in this position where you're like, if I don't cooperate, it puts me and my whole family at risk. But the stuff that it immediately like the first thing that they do, they're like, oh, spy on this guy. And he's a real shady guy. And the law that he ends up breaking is he's making drugs. So you turn him in and they come and they beat him and arrest him. And you don't feel too bad about it because you're like, yeah, this guy was a bad dude and he was making drugs. Well, then they send you this edict like, well, this guy, find out all you can about him. And you're like, okay. And like nothing sinister. They're just like, we want some information about him. And you talk to people and they're like, oh, he's a really good guy. And you talk to his wife and you find out that his family were the original owners of this building. But, you know, he doesn't really get into specifics, but it's like they lost it, so they don't own it now, but they still live there, and he's a pretty good guy. And then it's like, okay, now put together your report and turn it in. So you do. And you're like, okay, well, we need him evicted. And it's like, well, and they're like, so just wait till he breaks some rule or find a way to get him evicted. And all of a sudden that puts you in this position where you're like, well, he doesn't deserve it, but if I don't do it, you know, that puts me at risk. and it just goes on from there. Like it gets more and more. Yeah, it's really really cool. It's a very simple game. It's kind of a point and click style. I love the art style
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
Yeah,
Like I'm looking at it on Steam right now,
and I'll say when you start it up, like a little like you actually have like an opening cinematic, and it's actually done really really well. Like I think we get so used to like hearing, oh, it's an indie game, and I don't know how indie it is. This could be like a 20-person studio for all I know. I don't think it is, but you see these little games. It's a $10 game on Steam, and you expect, oh, you know, it can be really fun, but they tend to be like, oh, at the expense of. Don't expect the cutscenes to be any good, or the animation to be that good, or the sound effects to be that good. And like the whole opening's done really, really well. So that set me off in like a great mindset.
mm-hmm.
And it's just such a cool game. It does an amazing job of like immediately putting like kind of the tension on. Because one of the things that they do in your apartment, you got your computer desk, you know, with all your monitors that you spy on people and submit reports. But there's like the presidential, like the red telephone that connects you directly to like the agency or whatever. You know, they leave everything general. It's not like you're in Russia or whatever. But one of the things the guy tells you is he's like, and they're very good at like passive aggressive threats. They're like, oh, make sure if we call, you better answer. So never leave this phone. And then they're like, immediately after that, they're like, but go up to this guy's apartment and spy. And you're like, well, what the fuck?
I told you not to leave the phone.
Right.
Wow.
So, and then there's things like, your kid needs books for school, but it's kind of, you have to buy it from like a contraband dealer. So you're doing stuff that's not necessarily legal too.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so cool. I can't wait to play more of it and stream it. I'm already working on a piece about it, so I'll be playing that. But as far as big, like long, involved games, I'm not going to do anything until I finish Dark Souls.
Yeah, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's. It was one of those, I had got a press release about it and missed it, and then like as I was going back through cleaning out my email, I clicked on it. I'm like, this sounds amazing, and finally got to pick it up a couple days ago, and it is. And it's not like overly. Sometimes you get these games and they're kind of overly. I mean, it's a very political, very clear like political view game, but they're not necessarily beating your head over or beating you over the head with it either. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like I said, I'll be streaming some of that, and it's interesting. This again, it's Beholder. I forget the name of the developer. Torch something like. I don't know.
I can pull it up here real quick.
I've got Steam as one of my 4 million. Now that I've got 2 monitors, I'm like, oh, this will help our streams, and it does.
Warm Lamp Games.
Warm Lamp. I knew it had something to do with a lantern or a lamp. And I think they are Russian or Eastern European. If I remember correctly, when you go to their website, there's like 2 different language versions you can pick from. But so far, it's cool. I haven't played enough of it to be like definitely go out and buy it, but it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, looks like it's $10, so
yeah,
seems pretty reasonable.
I think if it stays as cool as it is now, it's probably worth the $10. At the same time, being thrifty and intelligent gamers like we are, we're very close to Christmas. There's going to be another sale. Like
yeah, and they will probably get on board with that.
Yeah, and it normally on a new game it's like, oh, it's 10% off. Well, if you can save $1 or $2, save $1 or $2. But
right.
But it seems cool. It's something to at least keep your eye on.
Awesome. So yeah, we got to call it a show here, though. I gotta eat something. I was
supposed to be done streaming like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, so, I told my brother like, oh, I'm going to try to keep it an hour show this week, and he was like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but well, thanks for doing the show because I know you had to rush home to do it, and
well, I enjoy the show. It's fun for me.
That's
the only way I could be doing it this fucking long.
Yeah. I was gonna say everybody else because I didn't need to tell this to you, but follow us here on Twitch at Njoystic. But I think I need to tell you that I don't think you follow our channel either.
I do. I just make a conscious effort, like, oh shit, he's streaming?
Yeah, don't
Absolutely
watch.
not.
No, you don't have to watch me stream. Just follow so we get the numbers. But we should be back next week. So until then,
Yeah.
goodbye.
See ya.